Welcome everybody to round 4 of the Harry Potter TCG Revival February tournament. We are currently in game 1 of Huamin versus Rhys. So up top we have Rhys playing his Salazar creature control deck, and on bottom we have Huamin with his Quidditch match combo deck. So quick reminder that Rhys is trying to essentially get cards like Troll in the Bathroom that he has played turn 1, or other just repeated damage cards out to trigger his starting character, Salazar-Slytherin, which lets him essentially set up the top 2 cards of his opponent's deck. Whereas Huamin is playing a Potions Quidditch build, trying to play Hufflepuff match and doing 8 damage in a turn to then get the prize for the match, to do 5 more damage to Rhys and then draw 5 cards, using his starting character Seamus to discard 2 cards from hand for a 3rd action. So there's a lot of combo pieces in his deck. It is very cool when we've seen it go off this tournament. We'll have to see how much he can make it go off this game. So because Rhys did do 2 damage on his turn with Troll in the Bathroom, Salazar does trigger, meaning that he gets to look at the top 2 cards of his opponent's deck and either put them back on top in any order or discard them. So this essentially lets him to decide, okay, do I want my opponent to draw lessons? Do I want my opponent to draw a card that's too high power cost for the card on their turn? It really lets Rhys control what cards Huamin is going to have to play on his turn. Really great strategy and a very interesting one. It's proven to be somewhat successful this tournament. We'll have to see how it does this game. So Huamin is going to play a Quaffle. This does provide 1 power, and it also lets him search his deck for a match and add it to hand. And what Huamin wants to do is get Hufflepuff match in hand and then play it. So this is a great setup. It also provides 1 more power to get up to 4 cost, which I think is a lot of the cards that Huamin needs in order to do enough damage to win the match. So he's in a really great position right now. So that Troll in the Bathroom is a base set adventure, and before each of Rhys's turns, it will do 2 damage to his opponent. This is just doing everything that Rhys needs for Salazar. It's doing some damage, it's triggering his starting character, a whole bunch of things. Really great card for Rhys's deck. And Huamin is going to discard 2 lessons to get a 3rd action from Seamus, and then use action 1 to play Hufflepuff Match, and the next 2 actions to play 2 potion spells that do 4 damage each, which will let him win the match on 1 turn. So then he will get to draw 5 cards if he wants to, and then Rhys will have to take 5 damage. So this is a really great way for the combo to go off, which means Huamin is doing 13 damage to his opponent and not really losing cards in hand because the match just replaces the 5 cards. You can't do this with every match that is printed, but Hufflepuff match is a unique match in that it does replace the cards used to solve it, which is really cool. So we see Huamin probably going through the cards that Rhys took damage, or that were damaged on Rhys's last turn, just so he's aware of what's in Rhys's deck. Rhys is on top of trying to control his opponent, and I believe, actually I misspoke earlier, I believe Rhys is actually playing a Salazar control big charm spelly deck. So Rhys is trying to, on top of getting that repeated damage with Troll in the Bathroom, ramp up to a really high amount of Charms power, and then play cards such as Exploding Charm or Alley Blast or just any big damage Charms card. So Huamin does have another match and 2 more cards in hand that will do enough damage to win the match. And it looks like he is going to use one action to, discard 2 cards to get a third action from Seamus, play a Hufflepuff match, and then play, okay, that's interesting, a Hagrid needs help. So this is an adventure that will restrict Rhys by 1 action every turn. Rhys does not have enough power in play to do 8 damage with 1 card right now. The 2 damage from Troll in the Bathroom does count toward the match, but it's not going to be enough for him to win. This is a great situation to be in, to have the match, and then to have Hagrid needs help in play. This essentially guarantees that you will have another turn to solve the match, and that Rhys will not get the opportunity to solve it with the reduced actions. So Rhys actually chooses to solve Hagrid needs help, and what that does is it will do 8 damage, which means Huamin will lose the match and will have to take 5 damage from that match. And then Rhys will win and get to draw 5 cards, and it looks like he does draw the 5 cards. So that was not the best for the match combo deck. It just kind of backfired probably on what he wanted to do. So Huamin is going to discard 2 cards for Seamus, and he's gonna do it again. He's gonna play another Hagrid needs help, and then another Hufflepuff match. This isn't the worst spot to be in. Rhys has 16 cards left. If he does take the 8 damage for Hagrid, which looks like he's going to, he goes down to a very low number of cards in deck. Rhys just must not have the cards in hand he needs to be able to catch back up and participate actively. He's really just being a little passive right now. I wonder if this is going to be game. Huamin does have 21 cards, and Charms doesn't really do healing to your deck. Huamin plays fouled, and that should do it for game, making it 1-0 Huamin. Yep, so that takes us into game 2. Both players will get to sideboard up to 15 cards if they decide to, and if they brought a sideboard with them. Rhys will go first because he lost the first game. So we got to see Huamin's deck really do its thing. The combo went off a couple of times. You saw it work actually in 2 different ways. One way was with Hagrid needs help, and one way was with 2 spells. And it's interesting because Hagrid needs help essentially will do 13 damage with the match. Rhys will take 8 to solve, 11 damage plus another 5. So Rhys will take 8 damage, draw 3 from Hagrid needs help if he wants to, and then the match draw another 5. So while Rhys is drawing potentially 8 cards after taking 8 damage, that means his deck size goes down by 16 cards. And in a game where your deck is your life, 16, whether you're drawing or discarding, that does make your deck smaller and brings you that much closer to losing the game. So that was just an interesting spot for Rhys to be in. So Huamin is going to discard 2 cards to Seamus. They are Revelations, which means when this cycle of them are discarded, the controller gets to draw 1 card for each. So he did essentially get a third action and not go down on hand size, which is pretty cool. We see him play the Quaffle again to get Hufflepuff match into his hand. So very similar to the cycle from last game of how he played. And it looks like for the third action, he has 4 power because of Quaffle. He's going to play a Lucius's Cane. This is an interesting choice. So Huamin's deck does consistently get a third action, and Cane is just going to ping Rhys for 2 damage every turn for every action used beyond the second. So that means Huamin, on top of getting that third action to win the match, will do another 2 damage from Cane. Kane also provides a power, so all around, this is a really great addition to his deck, and it's doing a lot. So Rhys does have that troll in the bathroom, which is triggering Salazar every single turn, and now he does have 4 power, and I believe that he plays Wand Shop to help him get up to the 10 power or 12 power he needs. So he's in a decent position this game. If he can just get a Wand Shop and play it, I think he'll be doing pretty well. So Huamin is going to discard 2 cards. One is a Revelation Star Charts, so he will draw 1 card for that, which means he has a 3rd action. And then we see him do the combo. So he uses action 1 to play Hufflepuff Match, and then 2 more actions for Pressing the Knot and Fouled, which will let him win the match. And this is great because Fouled is one of the most popular Quidditch cards, and it will do 4 damage and then take away one of Rhys's actions. So on top of doing 4 damage from Fouled, 4 damage from Pressing the Knot, and then another 5 from winning the match, he does also restrict Rhys by 1 action. So this is a great position to be in. Rhys is kind of struggling. Huamin has his game plan really on board. We'll see if Rhys can make a comeback. So Rhys plays Howler, which is a really popular card for his decks. He plays them in quite a few of them. So it'll do 2 damage. And then I believe it bounces a card from Huamin's hand onto the top of his deck. And this plays into Salazar really well. So on top of doing 2 damage, Rhys gets to look at his opponent's hand, and then Rhys also gets to put a card on top, which he can then discard using Salazar's effect at the end of turn. So while not incredibly powerful in terms of the amount of damage, this is a really great little combo that just lets him really control his opponent, so that is awesome. So Rhys doesn't look like he really made too much headway on his last turn. He did have 1 less action because of Fouled. And Huamin has quite a few options in hand in the direction he wants to go. So he gets a 3rd action with Seamus that will trigger Lucius's Cane at the end of turn. He discards 2 Revelations, lets him draw 2 more cards. He does have a Destroyed Broom. It will do 4 damage, but won't do much else in the current situation. He has Chamber of Secrets, which will stop Rhys from playing cards from discard, but I don't believe Rhys has anything that does that. And then he does have 12 Years in Azkaban, which will prevent 2 damage every time there's an instance of damage. And then when it's prevented 12 damage total, it will provide 2 potion power. Huamin's deck really kind of caps out at 4, kind of 5 power, so he doesn't need the power from 12 Years. It's really just a great card to counter consistent damage, which will prevent Troll in the Bathroom from doing damage, which will turn off Salazar Slytherin as well. So Huamin is in a really great defensive position. So Rhys plays Depulso. It is a new Charms card from the Hogwarts History mini set, and essentially it, I believe it shuffles a card with a printed power cost your opponent has in play back into their deck, and he chooses that 12 Years so that Troll in the Bathroom can start to be triggered again. So Huamin is going to start by discarding 2 lessons in order to get a 3rd action from his starting character. So he's going to play another 12 Years in Azkaban, which will turn off Troll in the Bathroom again, and then another potion lesson. We do see Huamin has a Malevolent Mixture in hand. It is my personal favorite potion card, so I'm happy to see people playing it. And essentially it lets him discard 2 potion lessons from play to do 10 damage to an opponent, and it only costs 5 power. Super efficient card. Rhys plays a Cheering Charm. This allows him to get a, I believe a spell back from his discard pile into his hand. Huamin is going to play another Hagrid Needs Help. We saw this last game. It will reduce Rhys's actions by 1, and to solve it, Rhys will have to take 8 damage. Rhys has 22 cards in deck. He will have one less after this turn, so he might solve it, he might not. Huamin does go for the third action, discarding a Revelation as well as a Chamber of Secrets, and then draws from that Revelation, and that third action will do 2 damage from Lucius's Cane, and then he will play a Destroyed Broom, I believe that was, for another 4 damage to Rhys. He's really controlling this game. Huamin is playing really well. His deck is really just melding together very nicely, doing its thing. Very cool to see all this happening. Rhys is down to the single digits. Huamin is still up at 22, it looks like. So Rhys needs to do something. His deck has not been able to go off this particular matchup, and I'm not sure why. Maybe Huamin is just hitting all of Rhys's wand shops or other cards, but Rhys's deck has just really struggled to do its thing. Weird to see. Rhys's deck is really cool when it does do its thing, but it's just struggling. And Rhys is just playing Cheering Charms. Gets back a Howler. Not necessarily doing a ton right now. Huamin is set up next turn if Rhys doesn't discard those potion lessons to just play a Malevolent Mixture and win, or Huamin can play Fouled and a Destroyed Broom and win. Either one of those play lines will be game. So Rhys is setting up the top of Huamin's deck. At this point, Rhys just wants to do something to stop Huamin from getting more cards, not knowing what he has in hand. And Huamin wins with my favorite card, Malevolent Mixture. Fantastic. So he will discard 2 potion lessons and do 10 damage. That was a really great game. We got to see the match combo work multiple times and 2 different ways. That was very cool to see. Unfortunately, Rhys just could not get his deck working this game. Hopefully next round his deck does a little better. Good luck to both players in future rounds, and thank you everybody for watching.